Now here we have a question that focuses on compound depreciation of something over the course of several years. Now the question gives you the original price of £20,000, tells you it depreciates by a certain amount in the first year and then a slightly different amount for the next couple of years, but still giving it as a percentage. We then want to calculate the value of this caravan 3 years after it was bought. So what we have to do is we have to look at the values and what we're going to get at the end of every single year. Now at the end of the first year, what we know is that it's going to be 11% less. So at the end of that first year, we know it's going to be 89%. So in order to calculate it, what we're going to do is take the original amount, the £20,000, and if we multiply it by 0.89, what we're going to end up getting is we're going to get the price at the end of the first year. However, we're normally used to doing various calculations like this in one go. We're normally used to having a power to it. But what you'll notice is that it actually changes the percent it drops by for the next 2 years. So if we look at that, for the next 2 years, it drops by 6% each year after that, which means that after that, for the next 2 years, it's actually 0.94 in terms of a multiplier, or 94% of what was there. Now, if it had been that for 3 years, we'd have done £20,000 times 0.94 to the power of 3 if it had done the same percentage every single year. This time it doesn't. But what we've got to realise is that we are going to reduce this 20,000 times 0.89 by another 6% for the next 2 years. So essentially, we're going to take the answer to this first calculation and multiply it by the 0.94 to the power of 2, because it's over the 2 years. Now, this sort of calculation here can actually be done in one go. This is a calculator question. So this calculation here can be done in one single go by just firing the numbers into the calculator and getting a solution. Solution we'd get for this one is we get £15,728 and 8 pence. Now, something like a caravan, rounding it to £15,728 wouldn't be an issue. Wouldn't be an issue for that. You're not going to argue over 8 pence for a caravan. Now, if you were to do this and you did the 20,000 times 0.89, got an answer, and then did your 2 years after that at the 94%, you wouldn't lose any marks at all. You're giving yourself more maths to do, don't get me wrong, but you wouldn't lose any marks to doing it step by step as long as you got to that final solution there. Now with this type of question, as always, the hardest thing to do is finding the multiplier. Has it depreciated or appreciated, i.e. gone down or gone up? What has it gone down or up by? And how do I then write that new percentage as a decimal? If we can do that, the rest of the information follows suit and gets plugged in together in one go, and we're then able to use our calculator. Now a question like this with these sorts of numbers, you're going to use your calculator to be able to get the solutions to it, which should make it actually relatively straightforward to do. Now for this question it was 3 marks. Your first mark came from getting both multipliers, so knowing 0.89 and 0.94 were the two that you needed. Your second mark came for doing the full calculation. Whether you did that in one go there like that, or you did it in a couple of steps. But if you did it in a couple of steps, you would have to show that you knew to do it in 3 steps, or however many steps you're doing, to be able to get that mark. So it might require a few lines of working to get that second mark, as opposed to just one line like we've got there. And then the third mark is for your final answer. Now it'll accept the 15,728. It won't accept much more rounding than that. So don't round it, for example, to 16,000 or 15,700. And remember, if you are going to round the pence, let's say you rounded the 0.08 to 10 pence, make sure you've got 2 decimal places with money. It's all about notation here and communication at that stage. Remember, money always has 2 decimal places, no matter what, so bear that in mind, just as a little tweak at the end. So a question like this, if you can identify the multipliers, and you can identify the number of years, and put that all together in the one calculation, because of the calculator element of it, it's fairly straightforward when it comes to that. You should manage to get 3 out of 3, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.